Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to get around to something that I've been meaning to for a long time, and that's introducing you to my daily driver, the third vehicle in my fleet, my 2014 Ford Fusion Hybrid. So I know some of you out there might be wondering, why does a guy that has a Corvette and a Wrangler have a hybrid? Well, before I get into that, I just want to say I hope that everybody has had a very happy and safe New Year so far. It's hard to believe that we're a couple weeks in it. That was a bump. Wow. Wow. I just want to say that I hope everyone has had a very safe and happy New Year so far. It's hard to believe we're a couple weeks into January already. And winter, as you can see behind me, has been pretty vicious the past week or so. Now, this is actually the third time I've tried to record this video, and I found out the hard way that I have a bad SD card. So you'll probably see a few differences in the background, because when I first started recording this video, it was actually quite nice out. So yeah, why do I have a Ford Fusion Hybrid? Well, the reason being, for those of you that subscribed to my channel way back when I started it, and only had maybe like a handful of subscribers, so most of you probably won't even know this, but I am a courier. I drive my own vehicle for work, and that requires me to drive a lot of miles, and do so at, basically my own expense with my gas mile, or with the cost of my fuel and maintenance and all that. So driving my own vehicle and trying to make as much money as I possibly can on my profit margin, having great gas mileage is of utmost importance. Now, the reason I haven't done any videos on this vehicle thus far is because after I took my new position, when it comes to being a courier, you just kind of never know how things are going to play out. Sometimes it definitely can be feast or famine at times, and if you're working for a company that just isn't managed properly, you will start losing work really, really quick. And that's unfortunately what happened at my I don't want to say employer, but the previous company that I was contracted with just was mismanaged as far as I can tell, and just did not work out. Now, the new place that I'm working, I actually am an employee, and I had to go through the whole probationary period and time, make sure things worked out before I went full time, and you just never know what happens. So I didn't want to get into a vehicle that maybe I only had for 3, maybe 6 months, and then all of a sudden I didn't need it anymore, and then it's gone. I'm pretty sure now that I'm in a good situation. I have very consistent, solid work, and I'm pretty sure that this car is going to be around for a fair while. I wouldn't be surprised if I do well over 300,000 miles on this car, unless something drastic changes. Now, the last vehicle that I had, which was in a few of those videos, was a 2010 Chevy HHR. Got okay on gas mileage. It was around 30 miles per gallon, had great cargo space, and was just awesome for the work that I do. But car wore out, work kind of dried up, and I wasn't sure where things were going, so I got rid of it. Sold it about a little over a year ago, and then kind of waited to see what was going on, because I looked into a couple other opportunities and actually ended up signing on with a different company. And back in the spring, well, I needed another vehicle. Well, I briefly had another HHR, and I just decided that wasn't for me anymore, and I looked into something that would be way more economical. And I originally was looking at the Focuses, the new Ford Focuses, well, newer Ford Focus actually. I had a previous job that I drove that for work, and it got upper 30s on gas mileage, so it was pretty good. So I was looking into that, and while looking through that, I found out that they made the Ford Fusion with a hybrid version. Now, most of the time, these larger cars, sedans and stuff, they throw a hybrid version in there, and you find out that, ooh, you know, you gain an extra 5 miles per gallon or something like that, and, you know, most of the time it's not even worth taking a look at. But I saw that the Fusion hybrid was listed as getting, I believe it was like 41 on the highway and 44 in the city. I was like, nah, that can't be right. So I did a little digging into it, and it turns out that, yeah, they, for the most part, under ideal driving circumstances, that's about the most that you will get. But the Ford Fusion is a fairly large car. You know, I'm a larger guy, so it's a little bit more comfortable than a Focus would have been. You know, so I decided, hey, let's go take a look at it, because I know it was a good car. And to be honest with you, I was turned on to the Ford Fusion primarily because of Autovlog. He owned, you know, before he got his AMG and his Raptor and his F-150 that he's focusing on now, a lot of what his, you know, what blew up his channel was actually the Ford Fusion that he had. And I know that he had sworn up and down that that was a great car, and, you know, it kind of, you know, made sense in a lot of the videos that he made and everything. So I decided to go and look into it. And after taking a look at this specific one that I found, it's a 2014, had about 91,000 miles on it. You know, higher miles, but for what it was generally in good shape. I guess the previous owner was like a salesman or something, so had kind of racked up a few miles on it, but overall, in general, in pretty good shape. Got it at quite a discount because it wasn't perfect, and it had, like I said, you know, higher miles, but I'm going to drive a ton of miles with my job, so getting a vehicle that has higher mileage actually makes a lot of sense, because rather than eating the depreciation on that mileage, somebody else already did that, and I'm just going to rack up a whole bunch more miles. And to prove that, I got it back in April, I believe, and I'm at 146,000 right now, and when I got it, it had 91, so I've already put over 50,000 miles on it just in the less than 12 months already as it is. So, truth being told, I did not like this generation of the Fusion when it first came out. I did not like the whole wide front. I thought it looked kind of gaudy. Definitely just didn't fit with the way the Fords looked. You know, especially the old Fusion was drastically different, and kind of almost thought it just kind of looked like a more European, and nothing against European cars, but it just didn't, you know, just didn't seem right for a Ford to have the front end that it had. So that besides the point. After watching Autovlog and seeing some of his videos, the car kind of grew on me a little bit, and I didn't dislike it as much. As a lot of times when there's a drastic change to a vehicle, you know, it takes a little while to grow on you, and then you're okay with it. So now that I've owned the vehicle for the better part of a year, I have to say that I'm very pleased with it. I've had about 50,000 mostly trouble-free miles on it so far. All I've had to do is the back brakes and general maintenance and stuff like that. Got new tires. My driver's experience with this vehicle is, I would have to say, thus far, this is probably, for a daily driver, this is probably the most, I would say this is probably the most practical and possibly my favorite vehicle I've had as a daily driver. Now, of course, I love driving my Jeep, I love driving my Corvette, and I like to drive them as often as I'm able to in Wisconsin with the terrible weather that we have for half the year. But that, you know, when it comes to practicality, a lot of times, if I need to go somewhere or do something, this is the vehicle that I will usually hop into, just because it's simpler. And to be honest with you, the gas mileage is definitely surprisingly good. Like, I watched a couple of videos, and I guess originally when the Fusion came out, the gas mileage was something advertised like 47 miles per gallon. That is never going to happen unless you're driving slightly downhill all the time at about 40 miles an hour and you don't touch the pedals at all. So that was completely ridiculous. And the 44 is actually a bit more realistic. Now, I will say that as any time of year you don't have to run the heater or the air conditioner, you will legitimately get 40 miles per gallon on average in this car. And that is, frankly, for what this car is, I would say that it's amazing. And being 6'2", a little bit bigger, this is probably one of the most comfortable vehicles that I've owned for any sort of distance driving. Now, with my work, you know, every day I drive about 200 miles. I have a route that I do, and I go halfway across the state of Wisconsin and come back. And, you know, it's comfortable. I love all the features. Visibility is great, which is something that's kind of rare in a lot of cars nowadays. And you know, I just, in general, I would have to say that this car is probably one of my favorite vehicles that I will ever own. You know, it's just a good car. Now, I don't want to gush all over it and make you go, oh no, he's a Ford guy. No, I love my Corvette. I love my Jeep. That's not going to change, and this is the first vehicle to go if I don't need it. It's a tool. It serves my job, and that's basically the only reason that I have it. So now, real quick, I just wanted to go over a couple little things about the car, because I'll give a full rundown video later, probably do a DeMuro style video, but wanted to get this done today because we do have another snowstorm coming, and I actually had a car wash just a couple days ago, and the car actually looked fairly nice, which you saw in a couple of those you know, nice shots earlier. But so, of course, you know, being a hybrid, it is automatic transmission. There is no other option, but it does have the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine married to the hybrid drivetrain, and it's got a lot of information, which you will get on the dashboard here when you go through all the different like display modes. It has so much information. I mean, that it is an amazing amount of information that you do end up getting on these vehicles when it comes down to how to measure your fuel economy and keep track of things and all that. It is pretty cool. You know, it does have the full infotainment system. The whole radio system is nice. You have a very intuitive climate control system, which also has these buttons down here, which I guess, you know, leave a little bit to be desired because they are little touch buttons. But it does get the job taken care of. As you can see, you can do that, you know, or you can hit the buttons on the screen. And having the dual zone climate is nice when you have passengers along. Of course, I don't have the navigation, otherwise that would be there, and the, you know, cell phone connection stuff. Which, one thing is nice, that it does have the 911 connect option, which means that if the airbags ever go off in the vehicle, it will automatically use your phone and dial out to 911, so that you can, you know, if you're hurt or whatever and you can't reach your phone, whatever, that is nice, having that 911 connect. One of the coolest things about this, though, is that I really like this. Now, what this does is when you're driving, it'll give you a full breakdown of the gas engine and the hybrid system, how that's all operating, because when you turn on the engine, it'll tell you why the engine's running and for what purpose. Now, obviously, as you can see, I'm sitting still. When I just hit the gas, it turns on the engine, so pretending like you were driving, it's obviously not running the drive wheels. And now if I take my foot off, the engine shuts off. And it basically tells you where all the, you know, the power, whether it be electric or gas, where it is all going and coming from in the car. Because of course, with the regenerative braking and stuff like that, you know, you can run this car purely electric. Like, well, here, I'll just give you a demonstration. Just going around the parking lot here, I put it in drive, and as you can see here, now I am in just electric. So right now, only the electric is running the car. And if I give it some gas, the gas engine kicks in. It is really nice, and compared to my father's Prius, usually after 25 miles an hour, you can't go. I can actually, if you gingerly use the accelerator pedal, you can go from 0 all the way up to freeway speeds just using the electric drivetrain if you feather the pedal just enough. But I'm actually quite impressed with that aspect of it. But not to drag this on any longer, but I do have, you know, the full steering wheel controls that basically control everything. Barely ever have to take your hands off the wheel. Locks and the, you know, all the controls, heated mirrors, all this little stuff up here. I mean, I haven't owned a lot of, actually I've only owned 2 new cars in my life, and I'm just amazed that my HHR was a 2010 and this being a 2014. Just the amount of technology on this vehicle, only being a few years newer than the last vehicle that I had. I mean, this thing is, I don't know, it seems like a decade of difference. But so in the short and the sweet, that is my daily driver, my 2014 Ford Fusion Hybrid. But now we need to take a run over by my garage, and we need to run the Corvette and give it a little bit of shuffle so I don't get flat spots on the tire. So we're going to head over there now. And real quick, while I'm on the road here, I do want to say that for the most part, my experience with this vehicle has been 100% positive. I would say that there are a few little things that are negatives, but I'm going to save those for, you know, another video, just kind of little nitpicky things that you kind of know what you're getting into when you get a vehicle like this. Gotta say, it's a great drive, it's comfortable, and you know, I've got everything that I need, the wireless connection from my phone for when I'm driving, you know, great, I mean, to be honest with you, great headlights, the high beams are fantastic with the projector beams and all that. Overall, it just seems to be a great daily driver. So for any of you out there looking for a, you know, four-door sedan that's maybe a few years old with a few miles on it, pick up one of these pretty cheap. And as long as you're not looking for a sports car performance or SUV, you know, level of storage capacity, then I really think that if you're just looking for a good four-door sedan, I'm very happy with the Ford Fusion. And when push comes to shove and I need to get another car, I think I would very much at this point seriously consider getting another one when I'm done with this one. All right, we're back here by the Corvette. Just fire her up, let her run for a few minutes, and get it warmed up, because like I said, it's been about a month since the last time I started it up and all that, so just want to shift around a little bit just to get the wheels off the same spot so I don't get a flat spot in the tires. So you guys can see our snowstorm is already starting to move in, but we are going to give a very cold start to the C4 Corvette. It's interesting, just like last year, when it's really cold, I get that whistling, like almost like a whistling noise comes out of here. Which is weird, it only does it when it's really cold, so I mean, I haven't noticed any problems yet, but it seems to be only when it's really cold starts, I get that whistle whining sound that I made a video about a year ago, and kind of just goes away, so I don't know what that is, but hey, whatever. Before I move it here, I just wanted to show you guys a little something that I'm doing. I'm taking a piece of chalk and I'm just marking on the wheel. I'm just marking this on the wheel so that I know where I've parked it. I'm going to do that on all four of the wheels, just so that when I shift it around, I can make sure that I don't park in the exact same spot with that part of the, you know, the tire sitting in the same spot to avoid flat spots. So it's just an easy way to keep track of it. And just so some of you guys know, when I say it's leaking oil, that unfortunately is what happens when it's sitting and running and all that. So it's pretty much leaking from everywhere. I'm not very happy about that, but it is what it is. Alright, so here we go. We shifted it around a little bit. As you can see, this is where it was sitting before. Now I'm right about here. Same thing with the fronts. This is where the wheel was before. Now it's here. As I keep shifting it around a little bit. Next time when there's no snow on the ground, I'll probably go out a little further, kind of bring it back so I can actually get the wheel turned a little bit more and just make sure it doesn't sit too long in one spot. But I'm going to let it run for a bit and let it get fully warmed up, because like I said, I haven't run in about a month, so I'm going to let it get completely warmed up until the temperature's right and everything. and then I'll shut her down, cover up, and let her sit for another week or two, and we'll do the same thing again. For 200, so I think that qualifies as effectively warmed up. So time to shut her down, cover her up, and that's going to do it for this one. It's also kind of funny, I kind of forgot that I even left this in here, but it still makes me laugh every time, the appraisal from CarMax. So if you haven't watched that video, check it out. So anyways, before I wrap this one up, I just want to say thanks for watching as always. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe below, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.